All for joining this webinar today. My name is Victoria Lowe, and I will be presenting what's new in ITOM AIOps, while I have Dennis here with me today, also from the ITOM product management team, who will be talking about service reliability management, otherwise known as SRM, which has gone GA in August of this year. So without further ado, let me just get started with a bit of housekeeping before I move on to the safe harbor notice. So this meeting will be recorded and will be posted on the ServiceNow community page about a week after we've done the live session. And we have a lot of content to cover today. So I would really appreciate if you could please put any questions that you have in the Q&A, and we will get to it as soon as we can, because we are a bit of a smaller team presenting today. So we will not only be presenting, but also be answering Q&A ourselves. That being said, let me get started with the actual presentation. So I just want to put out a safe harbor notice for some forward-looking statements that may be made today. In any case, any statement that we're making that may be forward-looking is just to the best of our knowledge currently and is still subject to change with some circumstances that we may not expect. So please hope that you understand. And in terms of this webinar, this is just a webinar that's happening today and this quarter, but we have a lot of other webinars happening as part of Live on ServiceNow, not only part of the ITOM BU, but as well as the other BUs like ITSM, CSM, and so on. So if you're interested in seeing the schedule yourself, please feel free to scan this QR code as well. And you will also get access to this deck if you go into the ServiceNow community event page blog for the specific event as well after this webinar. And again, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A and we'll get to them as soon as possible. And again, the session will be recorded and put on the ServiceNow community after, about 1 week after. So the agenda today is that I'll be going over the product evolution of ITOM AIOps, and then we will go over an overview of the Xanadu Q3 store release features for ITOM AIOps, as well as service reliability management. But we will actually focus more on the store release feature overviews and demos after the fact as well. And then I will cover some useful resources that we have available to you, as well as some upcoming webinars that you may find useful. So just to get started, I want to ask what all of your usage is. So I just want to know how to speak to ServiceNow, ITOM AIOps, and to understand at what level all you attendees are as well, so that I can change up the level of explanation depending on who's attending today. So please feel free to answer. We'll have this poll up for about 30 seconds, and then we will close it out. So let me move on to the next slide. So it's looking like a lot of you either want the solution, don't have a solution. There's some of you who are using a different AIOps solution. Maybe this session will convince you to use ours, but we also have some existing AIOps customers, so that's great. So I will speak very broadly as I can to all the features that we have and have some extra explanation where I feel is necessary. So moving on, here is the ITOM AIOps value evolution slide. So we can see how we've really grown from San Diego to Xanadu, and not only grown in product itself, but in the amount of features that we ship every release. I had a really hard time making this slide because, as you can see here for Xanadu, there was a lot to list because we just keep on releasing more and more items because we want to innovate so we can best serve all of you who want to use our product and are currently using our product to make it the most usable product possible to help you achieve quick time to value and just an overall really effective AIOps solution so that you can avoid outages and prevent issues in your organization. So this slide will be available. You can just see at a high level what we've released in each family release, but I'll speak more specifically to Xanadu and talk more in detail about everything itself. And if there's any questions about the May and June store release, which we've done a separate webinar for, I will be sharing resources at the end of the webinar so you can also learn more about them. So we have some high-level slides on the features and enhancements that we've come out with AIOps. Sorry, I'm trying to go to the next slide. Another slide right here over it, but I'll go more into depth about it, and you can always refer back to these once the slides are available to you after. Here we can also see high-level overview of the service reliability management, new features and enhancements. So without further ado, let me get started with the AIOps release feature overview. The first thing I want to talk about is analysis for ITOM alert analysis. So we have come out with an enhancement so that for alert analysis, you can now trigger an alert analysis and have it automatically generated for alerts that are being created into incidents and have it also populated in the incident form so that it breaks down the silos between the incident teams who work off of incidents and teams who work off of alerts so that you can continue getting the robust information available from alert analysis on the incident level itself without the need of having to go between incident and alert form. And for those who are not familiar with alert analysis is our analysis for ITOM capability that uses GenAI to generate not only a summary of the alerts, whether it's an individual alert or grouped alerts, but it also provides information on probable root cause, as well as potential remediation actions that you can take, or just general next steps action you can take so that you can have an actionable alert as opposed to trying to figure out what you need to do on your own. And so we can see right here, maybe not on the specific page, but right here on Express List, which is our live alert list, we have several different alerts here. And again, alert analysis can be generated on an individual alert through here manually, or you could also trigger it on the alert group level itself as well. So right here, we can see that there is the series of alerts. And I know that I maybe want to generate this directly into incidents because the team who works off of these alerts primarily works on the incident level and not necessarily the alert level. And again, the alert level is where we're getting the information directly from your monitoring tools and generating them into actionable alerts. And at the point where you maybe want to promote it to an incident could be the point where your teams want to actually action it. Again, it depends on your organization structure. You can definitely work on it from the alert level, but in the case where you primarily work off of incidents, we want to make this capability still available to you. And so now when I click the quick actions, I can see that there is the option for create incident with analysis. And let me just click here and run the action. And as a result of this, shortly, we will see that there has been an incident created for this alert. And this incident will also have the alert analysis information populated directly into this incident as well. So now you can see that the incident is open right here. And instead of having issues where you're trying to go back and forth and look at where the alert was originally from in the first place and trying to look for this information all here, we populated it directly into the description of the incident. So now you don't have to go here, try to look for it on the alert level, and then also look for it on the incident level as well. And in any case, if you want this to be disabled for whatever reason, this is automatically enabled when you have analysis for ITOM. You just have to go to the alert management rules. And then in the alert management rules, you can also see that there is the, looking at it, I can't find it on first glance, but the create incident with analysis. So you can enable or disable it from this view as well. So let me just close this out here and let's go back to the slides. So that is our newest capability for alert analysis. We have some pretty cool things, probably coming in November. So stay tuned for that as well. But if you are interested in getting access to this, we have it available through the ITOM Professional Plus add-on SKU or the ITOM Enterprise Plus add-on SKU, which is an add-on to our existing ITOM Pro or ITOM Enterprise SKUs. And the requirements for this specific version is that you must be on Washington Patch 4 or Xanadu. Next up, I want to talk about alert automation. So alert automation is a new feature that we have as part of ITOM AIOps. that has gone GA as of August, so last month on August 1st. This has actually been available since, I believe, Q2 or maybe actually Q1 of this year. But it was originally an innovation lab, meaning that for some time you could only test this and play around with it in your sub-production environments. But with this going generally available, now you can use this in your production environments as well. And the goal of alert automations is to make it very easy and intuitive for you to set up your various automations that you want to set up using the data coming in from your various monitoring tools, whether it's log data, event data, or metric data, and making it very easy for you to create these automations so that you can help reach fast time to value. And you can very easily enrich your alerts with information, have them quickly grouped so it can reduce noise or even suppress alerts as well that may be causing unnecessary noise, as well as other options as well to respond and remediate alerts as well. So these are just some of the capabilities of alert automations, which has gone GA, and it is available specifically through the AIOps Experience Store app. There is no extra cost if you are already an ITOM Pro or ITOM Enterprise customer using ITOM AIOps. This is just a new capability that you can use on top of everything that you already do. So in the context of some people who already have experience with AIOps, I just want to explain to you what exactly Alert Automations is doing and how it maps back to our existing capabilities. So we already have a lot of capabilities for AIOps, going from event rules, otherwise called alert grouping rules as well, and alert management rules. But you have to navigate to other pages in order to get to these pages. And so throughout the past 3 quarters, yes, I was right, since Q1, we've been introducing more and more of our existing capabilities into alert automation. So we've introduced alert enrichment, which would have otherwise been event rules, as well as alert grouping, which would otherwise have been the module for alert correlation rules, as well as alert escalation capabilities, which have also been already included as part of the alert management rules. And in June, we introduced some more alert management rule capability in order to escalate some alerts that you may have coming in and create those automations for that. But in August, we came out with a completely new capability that we didn't have before, which is simulating alert grouping, as well as an existing capability, which you could have done in event rules, which is suppressing noisy alerts. So again, if you are a brand new AIOps customer, don't worry, these event rules, alert management rules may be pretty new to you, but you don't really need to worry about it because we have them all in a more intuitive UI UX in the alert automations feature instead. But for those who are more familiar with these existing AIOps capabilities, these pages aren't going anywhere. You can still do what you want on these specific modules, but you also have the option now to do it directly within the service operations workspace so that you don't have to navigate back and forth between your various pages. So without further ado, let me go on with the enhancements for alert automation. So the first thing that we introduced, and the thing that I'm probably most excited about for alert automation, is the alert grouping simulation feature. So let me first start off about why you want to group alerts. So grouping alerts is a great way to understand the relationships between your alerts because you may have multiple alerts being generated on the same issue. And what's the point of having these be introduced to you as individual alerts? Because then you're spending time analyzing 5 different alerts versus spending time analyzing one group where you know the issue is all probably related. And so when you are creating these automations and defining the criteria where you want these alerts grouped, it can be hard to understand what the actual impact will be on your alerts that you have coming in. And so we wanted to give you the option to now simulate it so that you can actually use production data to see the results of your alert grouping automations as opposed to having to meticulously implement it, activate it, and fine tune it after you've already saved it as an automation. You can now do it all in a simulation state so that you can achieve quicker time to value with your alert grouping criteria without having to deal with the whole kerfuffle that is often going from sub-production to production and figuring it out using probably sub-production data that is not completely accurate. And so here we can see that in alert automations, again, this is a store app that you can get as part of the AIOps Experience Store app. There's this icon right here, and we can see there's quite a few types. Like I mentioned, you can easily enrich alerts, ignore alerts as well, respond to alerts, and so on. And right now, the view I'm showing you is just the list of existing automations that have been created for each of these automation types. But today we're talking about grouped. And in the case where I want to create a new criteria to have alerts grouped by, I can hit create automation right here. And then when I click create automation, I'll be brought to this page. And we can see right here that I can create whatever automation I want. So I've noticed that there are a lot of Zabbix alerts that we have coming in, and they're not necessarily grouped together, and it's causing quite a bit of noise. And so I want to group these alerts together, knowing, first of all, that the source is Zabbix. And other than that, after checking that the source is Zabbix, because I don't want this running on every single alert that we have coming in, then I want to analyze it based off of the description. But you also have the option of analyzing it off of any number of other fields that you want to look at, as well as alert tags as well, if you have them. You can set that up as a criteria as well. But in this case, I want to analyze it based off of description. And then I have the option now to either have them group based off of if the descriptions are an exact match, is a fuzzy match, or is a pattern match. So in this case, I want to show you if it's a fuzzy match. So we have the fuzzy match option, and then you can enter the percentage of which these descriptions from these various alerts should be similar. So I can enter a percentage of 80% right here. And at the point when I have everything figured out and I think I know what I want to group them by, then I can hit simulate. So at this point, when I hit simulate, then it's running the alert simulation based off of ungrouped alerts in the past whatever time period I set it for. So in this case, I set it for 24 hours, and you can see now that it's processing. And these are the alert groups that would have been created as a result of this criteria that I've set up. And also alerts that may have not been grouped as well. We can see some empty alerts as well here. And I can understand now by looking through this, which alerts would have been grouped together and maybe which alerts also weren't grouped together, so that you can understand maybe I need to expand the criteria of my alert grouping criteria. So either more alerts get grouped together, or maybe make it a bit more specific and choose a different criteria to group by so that maybe they're not overgrouped as well. So at the point when you have your conclusions from looking at the simulation, you can edit the criteria that you've set here and rerun the simulation and keep on doing this until you actually get the results that you want. So again, this helps you achieve quick time to value while being able to see the results of your alert grouping automation on real data from your production environment without actually impacting your production environment data. And you can also see some important stats like how many groups were created, how many alerts were ungrouped, and also the compression rate as well. So how many alerts of the 300 alerts were actually grouped together. But now going back to the presentation, the next thing I want to talk about is the ability to quickly ignore some noisy events. So like I said, you can have a lot of alerts coming in or data coming in from your various tools. And sometimes you're getting notifications about things that don't actually matter to you and things that are just causing unnecessary noise in your express list, which is, again, the live alert list that we offer. And so you can create automations to ignore them from getting created into alerts so that you reduce the noise coming into your ServiceNow express list. So this can be really easily set up. Again, we are in the same alert automation page, except now we are on the ignore automation type. And at the point when you want to create something to ignore some alerts, then we can create another one called Zabbix, for example, and have the severity And again, the source also set up so it's not running on every single event that you have coming in. And when the severity is okay for Zabbix alerts, it's not exactly the most concerning to me. And so I've set this up as a specific criteria as to when specific alerts should be ignored. And just to double check that it's running and going to ignore the alerts that I wanted to ignore, now I can see a number of sample events that wouldn't have been promoted to alerts as a result of this automation that I've created. And so I can easily go through all of these and see that the severity is okay and that these alerts or these events that would have been created into alerts weren't actually something that I want to be notified about, so that I can double check that the automation is what I expected and wanted it to be in the first place. So again, this helps you reduce noise very quickly and helps you see what events would actually have been impacted so you don't accidentally ignore more events that you would have otherwise meant to have ignored. And then next up, we also have express lists. So moving on from alert automation, we've introduced quite a few enhancements to express lists this quarter. The first thing is that we've introduced the capability for you to actually access your unified map, or otherwise known as service map, directly from the service operations workspace express list, where when you are analyzing your impacted services on a various alert, you can easily look at the information on the service itself, understand the severity, the business criticality very quickly, a description if there is one, and easily access the relevant service map or related metrics through Metric Explorer. So the service map is easily accessible, and at the point when you click into the service map, then you'll be brought to this impact map right here, which helps you quickly understand how the alert that's been open is impacting all the other various CIs that are related to that specific service. And you can also follow the impact path of the other various alerts that may also be opened on that specific service as well in this page right here. And you can also see all the other relevant information, such as other related incidents that may be open, other related changes that may have recently been open as well on the specific service that you're analyzing. So now you can quickly access the service map directly within the service operations workspace, as opposed to having to navigate to a completely different workspace and completely different page to view all this information, so that you can very quickly and easily understand the impact of this alert on the rest of your infrastructure as well. And next up, we've also given you now the option to select all in bulk action so that you don't have to manually click multiple alerts. And so for whatever filters that you have set up on your specific express list or whatever searches you put in, those are the only alerts that will be selected when you do a bulk action. And in this case, you can select up to 1,000 alerts at a time to do any of the generic actions, such as acknowledging them, putting all the alerts into maintenance, assigning it to you, or assigning it to another team member. But I hope you're not assigning 1,000 alerts to yourself or another team member, because you definitely have to deal with closing it after, and no one wants to do that. So to do this, it's really easy, and I'll show you right now. All you do is click this and you have all the alerts selected. That was the simplest demo that I've probably ever done. And if you want to unselect it, you just unselect it by clicking the bulk action again. But as well, if you have maybe like 5 that you've manually selected as well, and you're like, oh, I don't actually want these selected anymore, and you don't want to deal with clicking all of them as well, you can also do the bulk unselect as well through the same action. And then at the same time, you don't have to unclick 5 times over again. So that is the capability of the bulk action. Again, up to 1,000 alerts at a time for any of the filtered or search for alerts that are currently visible on your express list. So if there are alerts that are not visible on your express list because you filter them out, the bulk action will not apply to those specific alerts. Again, this is going to be available through the AIOps Experience Store app. And we also have the option now to remove alerts from alert groups. So sometimes maybe you didn't do the testing that you needed to, and you maybe were a bit lazy when you're doing your alert grouping simulation, and you notice that there's some few more alerts that were grouped together that you didn't actually want grouped together. And so you want to maintain the accuracy of your alert groups in that moment. So before you go back and you update that alert grouping automation yourself, because maybe you were a bit lazy or didn't realize, you can remove the alert from that alert group so that for anyone who is actually looking at those alerts after you, or you just analyzing it yourself, you don't end up accidentally looking at more than you need to, and you have the most accurate alert group as you would like. So in the case where maybe as well, another scenario that this could apply to is that maybe you know that a specific CI that you have alerts being opened on isn't actually something that's concerning to you. You know that you've decommissioned it, but you haven't yet turned off some notifications for it or suppressed those alerts. And so in that case, maybe this CI right here isn't actually super important to me. And I know that we're in the process of decommissioning it. And right now, we don't actually have to worry about it. And I don't want people worrying about this thing that is already turned off. And that's why it's being turned off. Also, that wouldn't really make sense in the scenario because it's high CPU utilization on something that's turned off, but stay with me here. In the case where we wanted this alert group removed, or this specific alert removed itself, we could easily go either in the express list itself and do a quick action, or we could also go into the side panel of the alert and look at all the open alerts here and remove it from the group easily like this. And in the case where maybe you were a bit too quick or brash and you want to undo it, you can easily also click the undo button right here to re-add it to the group. And you may have noticed also right here that we have the ability now to hide some closed alerts. So previously, the hide closed alert feature wasn't available in the side panel itself. And so you would have had to look at every single alert in an alert group, even if it was closed, but now you can easily hide anything so you can focus on the alerts that actually matter. And this is consistent with the experience in the alert grouping timeline, as well as link view. So here now in link view, I also want to highlight that in any case, if you have closed alerts, you can also hide those attributes from those closed alerts so that it potentially isn't adding more noise to your link view so that you can understand the blast radius impact of an alert group. But by default for link view, the attributes from closed alerts will not be hidden. And before I move on to kind of non-service operations workspace related topics, I want to ask you now another poll question on, is your organization currently using the service operations workspace? So I'll give you about 30 seconds to answer this. I'm very curious to see what the results are. Also, again, just want to remind you that I will be looking at the questions after I'm done my presentation. We're just a bit small team-wide today, so trying to conserve time as much as possible. So very, very interesting numbers. Also, I included an option for we are not using ITOM AIOps because I know some people just want to learn about ITOM but aren't even using it yet. So wanted to give that option for those types of people as well. So very, very interesting results. I'm going to end the poll now, and we can see that of the people, sorry, it keeps on opening in my upper screen, of the people who are here today, there are quite a people actually using Service Operations Workspace already, which is great. And also quite a few people who are planning to, but aren't yet. And just a few people who don't have plans for migration. So for those people who don't have plans for migration, and also for the people who are planning to but haven't not yet, I will tell you that all the capabilities that I just talked about so far today are only available in the Service Operations Workspace. And so if you want to actually get access to the capabilities that I showed you, you have to start using the Service Operations Workspace in order to start using these capabilities. So just a small nudge to maybe start those migration plans sooner than later. But moving on now, and again, thank you everyone for answering the poll. We also have a few new capabilities not directly related to Service Operations Workspace, which are pretty awesome. So the first one is having a now configurable alert correlation sequence for the automated alert grouping types. So there are automations that can be configured by rules. So the alert automations, things that I showed you today in the alert automations for grouping. So those apply to log analytics as well as correlation rules. But we also have automated alert grouping types for CMDB, tag-based, time pattern, and text similarity. Out of the box, the order is CMDB, tag-based, time pattern, text similarity after, again, log analytics and correlation rules are run. But now, depending on your organization, you may have different levels of trust between your CMDB, between the alert tags that you have, between the time similarity and text similarity. And depending on this, you can easily enable or disable these various automation grouping types, but also maybe you want multiple running and you want them ordered in a specific way that works best for your organization in terms of trust. And so now in the system properties, you can configure the order of your automated alert grouping types, which again is these darker green boxes right here, as well as I've listed them right here, so that you can order them based off of the order, automated alert grouping order that works best for your organization. So you can have more confidence in your automated grouping and also still get the benefits of automated grouping as well before you maybe want to implement some more specific automations through rules or other methods as well. And again, you need to be on the Xanadu family release to do this, and you have to do this in the system properties. Next up, we also have a new Dynatrace metric connector that's out of the box. So for anyone who may have done a custom connector or maybe thinking about integrating your Dynatrace metrics now, we have an out-of-the-box connector definition for you to select to identify the anomalous behavior using metric intelligence as well. So now this gives you the option to easily centralize your metric data from Dynatrace and identify anomalous behavior from that data and centralize it with all your other monitoring tools easily within ServiceNow without having to do custom integrations and custom scripts in order to do this. And moving now on to HLA. So some new features that we have, this is one of two, is that we have introduced the capability to actually, in like 3 clicks, I've never actually counted it myself, but basically 3 clicks, set up the syslog monitoring of your ServiceNow instance using HLA. So that HLA can actually analyze those logs from your ServiceNow instance to identify any issues in your ServiceNow instance as they appear as anomalous log behavior. And so this setup is super easy, does not require a mid server. All you need is the name for the data input for your HLA data input, a application service set up for your ServiceNow instance itself, and some table filters if you want, so that not your entire syslog is analyzed at once. And so this capability is super useful for you to understand quickly what value HLA can bring to you without needing and having to set up the mid server and everything. You can get your first taste of HLA through this if you have ITOM enterprise licensing. And so now this not only gives you an easy way to understand the issues that are potentially happening in your ServiceNow instance through log data, but also it allows you to actually also analyze the logs themselves using log viewer, as opposed of having to analyze all the syslog data more manually. And again, this doesn't require any mid server. You just need to be on the most up-to-date version of the HLA store app, and you also need HLA licensing, which is part of ITOM enterprise licensing. And last but not least, before I hand it over to Dennis, we also have more throughput enabled for HLA. So we already have HLA 2.0 architecture, which utilizes Kubernetes, otherwise known as ITOM Gateway, in order for you to be able to stream a larger throughput of logs as opposed to using a load balancer based architecture. And based off of our new streaming protocol, I always forget multiplication, my brain's a bit slow now, increased the throughput by 6 times through the old streaming protocol versus the new one, so that now there's a higher reliability of the logs being streamed through HLA. And in any case, if you're interested in the size of the logs and what they mean in terms of bytes, I've also included the information right here. But without further ado, because we're a bit tight on time, and again, the slide deck will be available to you on the ServiceNow community blog post for this, I will hand it over to Dennis.
Thanks, Victoria. Hello, everyone. My name is Dennis Gaidin. I'm an outbound PM. I also work with Victoria and ITOM BU, and I'll cover SRM, or Service Reliability Management. As Victoria mentioned, Service Reliability Management officially went GA on August 1st. Excellent. So Service Reliability Management, or SRM for short, was designed to empower distributed teams to autonomously manage the health of their digital services using site reliability engineering, a practice that was developed by Google 20 years ago. SRM provides a unified team-based experience that allows teams to self-serve and monitor the health of their services within the service operations workspace using on-call incident response. SRM does require ITOM Operator Pro, AIOps Enterprise, also ITSM Standard. It's available today with the Xanadu release, but if you also have Washington, it's available with patch 4. Slide. All right, I wanted to cover a few use cases because this is something that's fairly new for many of our customers that are typically not involved or have no visibility into these various distributed teams. So it was designed to improve the reliability of these of organizations building digital services by providing tools for monitoring, managing, and optimizing service performance. Some of the key use cases is, of course, the on-call management, also proactive incident management. SRM helps organizations detect potential issues before they impact customers by using the real-time monitoring capability and alerting of event management, and incident response automation. So we're also leveraging some of the on-call capabilities of ITSM, but repurposing it for team-based automation and on-call alerting. This proactive approach minimizes downtime and ensures a higher service availability. The service level management piece, SRM enables organizations to find, track, and manage service level objectives. What a service level objective is think of it as an SLA that doesn't give you any consequences because it's a lot more stringent than an SLA is. Service level indicators to help you inform those SLOs, and error budgets to alert you when you're starting to getting close to those SLOs. This allows teams to measure the performance of services against agreed upon standards and ensure that they meet their reliability goals. The root cause analysis piece is we're providing tools to quickly identify the root cause of incidents and outages, and that's, again, the AIOps core components of event management. We're analyzing data from various sources. Again, these are the disparate signals that we're aggregating in event management to help teams pinpoint it to get to the root cause of the system, to get to root cause and get to a resolution. Continuous improvement. Because this is all residing on top of the Now platform, we're given the ability to understand exactly how the various teams are performing. And if teams are not meeting their SLAs or SLOs, we can provide the means to actually go out and support them. And the regulatory compliance is because of the reports and dashboards. I'll go to the next slide because I know we're out of time. So one of the key improvements that we made for the GA release is we introduced a new SLO user experience that provides a single pane of glass, also a simplified setup, enhanced guidance, and a flexibility to save progress as a draft. This improves and streamlines the configuration process, reduces setup time, and allows users to pause and resume work at their convenience, ensuring that they can get to complete those tasks without losing any progress. We also provide enhanced stability and a better user experience to make it easy for teams to officially manage their SLOs. even in busy environments with frequent interruptions. And I'll show this in a demo. Next slide. There's a new bulk import support in Admin Center, and I'll go over that in a demo as well. What it basically does is enables customers to streamline the service management by allowing bulk selection of asynchronous activation of multiple teams and services. This enhancement eliminates the need for you to enable services and teams one by one, significantly reducing activation time and improving overall performance. As a result, customers can manage large-scale services more efficiently, ensuring faster, more scalable operations, all while enhancing their user experience with a simplified cloud-based approach. The other one is service ownership update to support group. This simplifies service management by replacing what we have, the manage by team. It is an automation. You can click the next one. With a widely adopted support group field, this change eliminates confusion and streamlines process by IT teams by consolidating service ownership under a single familiar structure. By leveraging the existing ITSM support group framework, it improves coordination across troubleshooting, reliability, and issue resolution tasks by laying the groundwork for future enhancements. Ultimately, this update ensures greater efficiency, consistency, and ease of use. Next slide. This is actually an animation. There was the old one, and there was the new one. And last but not least, new on-call for alerts. Previously, it was just incidents. Now we have the ability to leverage alerts. This allows us to provide automatic notifications based on specific alert triggers. So you can, specify exactly what those alerts are, enabling you to get to faster incident response and reducing downtime. By configuring alert conditions, teams can ensure they only get relevant and targeted notifications without, having to manually set all these up, using an incident type resolution methodology. With escalation management, you can define the appropriate paths for team interventions, ensuring timely action for the right individuals. All of this is easily managed through the service operations workspace, providing a centralized platform for both on-call and alert management. I think that's all I had, and I'll go to my demo. Before I go, there's actually a poll. So has your organization embraced the distributed team model? Again, typically, it's organizations that are building these digital services that are typically customer facing. It could be a mobile app, it can be a web facing app, or it can be even an application that integrate with these, IoT devices as well, right? Where they need to push out these updates and they need to operate 24/7. Right, I see. Not sure is leading it, around roughly 40%, but it's a mix between yes and no, roughly around 30%. So I'll end this poll. And I'll go to the demo. Okay. All right, so I'll show everyone a demo. This is poll. The first part I'll show is the bulk import capability. So when you go to Service Operations Workspace, you go to Configurations. If you have various modules, they'll all show up here, but we want to select the Service Reliability Management module.
Dennis, are you sharing?
Yes.
Oh, wait, never mind. Sorry, I see it. Sorry. The
Okay,
Zoom
sorry.
confuses me. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I had the same issue just now too. So this is
Apologies,
the
everyone.
admin center. And just to highlight, this is a persona-based model that the SRM solution provides. So this would be the now admin that would go in here. And in here, you can also specify who the SRM admins are. If I select this, I'll see the list of admins. But I wanted to show the new capability. So we want to activate teams and services. So let's select that. This. Previously, it was just, you could only select one and click next. Now we have the ability to select, if you want to select every one of them and click activate, and it'll activate it. And again, it operates in an asynchronous fashion. Then I'll go to the services piece. And again, what I didn't also add here is that we also support tag-based services also. I'll just select application services, and I'll just select example, and I'll add another one. I'll just activate it. And here's the support group piece that we're talking about before that was managed by group. Application. Select this one for now, confirm, and that's it. And you don't have to sit here and wait. It's actually going to run in the background and add it to the system. The next piece is we want to go to the on-call support for alert. And we have to type the trigger rule config. Nope, not the config table. cfg.lists. And we need to add one here now. Click and select new. And this will be called the alert. Set alert. So we're capturing the data from the alert table. Specify the assignment group. Assign to and submit. And this basically just turns on the on-call support for alerts. The next piece is we'll go back to the service operations workspace now. You'll see we have this Teams module that it provides, and also provides this services tab. Again, this is the admin can see everything, but I'll go back to the Teams piece, and I want to show the new SLO UX. So I'll go to actually I'll go to card service, edit service there, services managed, order status, and there is a dashboard here that provides what steps you need to take to complete this to get it up and running. We already added the service. We specified the alert data source. This piece is using the integrations launchpad that we have that's part of AIOps. So we're reusing some components here. But I'll add the reliability metrics here. So for the reliability metrics, let's just call this, since this is order service, API latency. We want to look at latency. We want to look by duration, 9.95, and a month. So we want to make sure that this is our SLO that we need to make sure we do not exceed for the month. And from a service level indicator, how are we going to inform this SLO? We'll look at this SLI now. We'll call this the order status API response latency. By default, it's looking at the CI of order status. We'll set up a new condition. I'll say I want to look at the metric name. And we wanted to say if it's greater than or is 200 milliseconds of latency. So if the metric that we're getting from any one of our alerts that we set up, if it hits that, we want to be 5 to inform the SLO. And then from an error budget, again, so if the error budget is, if we're approaching 20% that threshold that we have here, I want to have an incident set up. In the future, we do plan to add a lot more capabilities here, but this is using Flow Designer Integration Hub under the scenes. For this particular piece, it's just Flow Designer, and click Save. What I can do, I can save this as a draft and have my team validate this, and I can go back to it later. So if I go back here, go back to my reliability metrics, go back here, it's still edge draft, right? We didn't have that before because it was all had to be set up and activated. Now we can activate it and turn it on. Right, so, and this is that little dashboard for order status, API latency. Right now, the reliability is stable. Latency is good. We have 21 minutes. That's our error budget, 21 minutes for the entire month. And this is what our burn rate is. We would see a percentage here. So this is all we have. Victoria will share some resources. I recently did a YouTube demo of this that goes into this in a lot more depth. Um, and it over to Victoria. Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot I was muted. Thanks, Sans, for handing it back over. So before you leave us, please stay because I'm sharing quite a few resources. So first off, we have research opportunities. So if you want to contribute to the vision of ITOM in areas such as AIOps, SRM, and visibility, please feel free to sign up for these research opportunities. You can sign up through the QR code right here, or you can also sign up through the link I will be posting in the chat right now. So that information is already all there. And in any case, we also have some more resources as well. So you can see right here that we have quite a few things. So I'm not even going to list them all. There's a bunch. Service reliability management blog. I'll also include Dennis's video as well, and so on. There's a lot. I will say that. So I will be pasting that all in the chat right now. And so these are just some resources that you can access yourself to learn more about what's happened recently, as well as what's happened in the June store release and so on. And we also have quite a few upcoming webinars as well. So we have the Activate Predictive AIOps using HLA, which will be on October 1st, I believe, so next week, where we'll have Marcus and Doug from our team speaking about how you can leverage the power of HLA, as well as speaking about in more depth, the syslog integration that we've introduced for HLA as well. We also will have another webinar like this for the Q4 store, as well as one for APJ and AMS. And in November, we will also be having our first ITOM AIOps office hours as well. And we have some more webinars planned, but they aren't scheduled yet. So they aren't yet on the registration page on Live on ServiceNow. However, they will be up in the next couple of weeks as we get closer to November. So keep your eyes out for that so you register as well. And if there are any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and we'll answer them as they come in. But thank you so much for attending today. Dennis and I will still be available to answer any questions that you have. But without further ado, hope you have a good rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, or so on. Hopefully it's not too late for anyone past evening.
Yes, thanks everyone.